Hey there, it's your boy Foxy, back for more relationship stories. Update. Dad left us and a decade later wants to reconcile because he has cancer. Am I wrong to be angry? Original post. My dad left us and started a new family when I was 14. This had a profound impact on myself and my family. Life as a child of a single parent was hard, as you can imagine. The government benefits was hardly enough to support 3 kids, and we lived below the poverty line. Then my mom became an alcoholic. I started working as soon as I legally could to help with the finances. I sacrificed my childhood so that there was electricity and gas in the house. I started failing at school and paid out of my own pocket to hire a tutor. I went to university locally, even though I had better offers elsewhere. I have a good and stable career now. My family lives with me, but I feel they are not respecting me. Recently, my dad got in touch with my younger sister through Facebook. She met up with him and brought him back to my home. He didn't apologize for the pain he put me through. He made it all about himself and tried to gain sympathy for his plight. Am I wrong for not caring and not wanting him in my life? I told him to leave. My mother and sisters tried to defend him. We got into an argument, and I threatened to evict my own family. We have not talked for days and my home has become hostile. What should I do? Now for the top advice before reading the update. Idiots are idiots. Idiots with cancer are still idiots. Idiots who die are still idiots. There's a tendency when people pass away or become sick for others to feel like they should overlook bad behavior or reconcile just because the person is going through a hard time or we might not get another chance. No. If he wanted to reconcile, he should have done it before he needed something. He has cancer, and as with any serious medical condition, there's a huge strain on both financial and emotional fronts. He only came back because he wants your help, probably with both of the above. He's not interested in reconciling for your sake, or even because he wants to make amends, because if that were the case, then he wouldn't have only been focusing on himself. He's back in your life because he wants something from you. Your mom and sisters, and probably you as well, have been wishing your dad was a different person for the last 10 years. Now he's showing up and acting like that's the case, like he wants to be part of their lives again, and like many people offered the thing they dream and wish for, your mom and sis are willing to suspend their doubts and go along with it. The reason they are so mad at you is because you are bursting the bubble of their dream with your refusal to ignore the reality of what your father has done. You can't force them not to have a relationship with him, but you can and should set boundaries for the house that you own or pay for. If you don't want him there, then they just have to visit with him elsewhere. You will respect their desire to see him, but they should also respect your desire not to see him. That is a perfectly reasonable compromise under the circumstances. I was no contact with my mother when she died, or very little contact, only when there was absolutely no one else that could help her. I don't regret it. I regret that she was horrible to me and made it impossible to have a relationship with her. And now that she's gone, I still remember all the trauma and all the crappy things she said to me right up until shortly before she died. A person isn't obligated to be part of a neglectful parent's life. And while some may feel guilty about it, the guilt I felt was minimal and it passed quickly. My mother disowned me because I divorced my wife. She expected me to live in misery with a woman who was ruining us financially and completely useless as a parent. I raised my kids mostly by myself, and both my kids are grateful that I stayed in their lives and had them live with me instead of their mother. My mother was mentally ill, but she was also mean-spirited, petty, and impossible to be around, especially in public because zero filter. I've thought about her off and on since she died in 1993. But every time I do, it just reaffirms my disdain for her. I even feel guilty about it, until I remember she cut me off like I never existed. Even my kids hated her for it, and she couldn't understand why they wanted nothing to do with her either. I totally agree with the top comment. People always try to make idiots who have passed away into people they never were. An idiot is still an idiot, even when they're dead. You're completely justified in asking him to leave and in being angry. They can have a relationship with him if they want, but they shouldn't bring him to your home without your permission. This was my first thought. OP had to step up and be the man of the house, and his sisters thought it would be okay to bring their dad to the house her brother had to provide for them in. OP, you have every right to be infuriated, especially because he didn't even apologize. He is not sorry, he is guilty. No, you're perfectly justified in your response. Explain as clearly as you can your feelings to your family. If they want to see him, then that's not something you should evict them over, as they'll have their own feelings and opinions towards him and whether they want to reconcile. But if you don't want to see him or have anything to do with him, then that obviously can't take place at your house. Where you said that you don't feel your family are respecting you, is that solely to do with this situation, or is there more to it? The fact that he can just walk back into our lives without an explanation. My family is financially dependent on me. I feel like what I have done and what I went through is just being tossed aside. I don't want him in our lives. There are things that irritate me now, such as eating dinner alone. I feel like I am being ghosted. And now for the update. You guys are right. I can't force my family to accept my views of no contact with my father. I resent this man so much. I can't stand the sight of him. After I posted yesterday, I was invited to have dinner with my family. To no one's surprise, my dad and his new family were there. I picked out the 2 most expensive dishes on the menu, and we had a chat. I heard his thoughts on the matter of being an absent father, but I didn't bring up any of our hardships. My mother and sisters made more attempts to make me forgive him. I did. I forgave him, but that doesn't mean I need to have a relationship with him anymore. Again, my family protested that I'm being cruel and heartless. I'm not. Many people survive cancer, and his lung cancer is in the early stages. I told them I would not be present at any family events if he was there. My sister shouted at me claiming he is our dad, you idiot. Yes, he is, to which I replied that he needs to take over his responsibilities as a father. I told them I had canceled the tenancy on the house, and we need to move out by end of this month. My sisters need to return the iPhones that are on contract, as I am canceling those. Driving lessons will be canceled, gym membership will be canceled, subscription services will be canceled, and everything else that I pay for. These are dad's responsibilities now. Ate my dinner and left them with Bill as a little act of petty revenge. I have been staying with my girlfriend and have not answered any texts and calls from them. I need a break. I'm done. I'm done taking over dad's role. I'm done with the financial responsibilities or acting as the parent. I'm 25 and I need to live my own life now. I don't think this will burn bridges. It's just a wake-up call for them. Edit. I'm not going to ghost or abandon them, but they need to become independent now. I'm reading all the comments. I know I have acted like a jerk. I just need some time to collect my thoughts. I might update later. I read your original post and your update, and I have to say that I'm freaking proud of you, dude. Stick to your guns. If you can take anything positive out of this entire ordeal, is that it's made you very responsible. This exactly. Because my friend's ex-husband abandoned her with 3 very young kids. She never got a penny, not 1 dime, 0 help. She eventually built up a daycare business, and those kids never wanted for anything. All the extracurricular activities and even travel you could imagine. She has no retirement because everything she made, she spent on those kids. Fast forward 25 years. Dad drops into the picture because he hears of the wedding of the eldest daughter, and now as adults they rally around him. He's a hero and has a big cozy relationship with all the grown kids. And worst part of all, he's turned them all against her. I understand the longing for a father back in their life, but they never put up a fight and turned on the only person that cared about them when they were most vulnerable. OP, you are a good man. Stick to your guns. The fact that you stepped up gives you a unique view of what he truly did by abandoning his kids. Screw that guy, he started a new family and left you guys when you were vulnerable. He's got a lot more groveling to do and your siblings should be holding him to that. Oh my god, your poor friend. Did they ever figure out their dad was an ass? No. And it's devastating. What's worse is, even at the wedding, the absent dad had kissed the groom's parents' butts so much, offering to help with the wedding etc., that he got a huge public acknowledgement or speech by the groom's father about what a great father he was and what a great job he did with his daughter. My friend didn't have a single thing said about her, and she actually helped. I've known her for 20 years, and I've watched her raise her kids firsthand. She hasn't invited any of this, only suffered for her kids, and this is what she gets. I'm sick just typing this, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Makes you take pause about how much sacrifice is too much when you only get nothing at the end. I have so much respect for you. I can understand all too well the pain of having a parent abandon you. And I can't imagine the added pain of your mother turning to alcohol, only adding to the financial burden. It's harsh, but you have worked hard to support your mother and sibling when it is not your responsibility. If he wants the title and respect back then, he can step up to the plate and fill the father role completely. Screw him, it sounds like he only came back because he was diagnosed with cancer. It should have never been my responsibility. I didn't work out of love for my family or some sort of charity. It was out of desperation. We were so close to being put into the foster care system. Our lives would have turned out much worse. Next story. I just caught my dad cheating, and the woman he is cheating with is pregnant. Plus update. So I, female 16, decided to go to a local coffee shop and get a drink when I spotted my dad with this woman. Not too big of a deal. They could have been co-workers or something. Then he started brushing her hair out of her face while he was talking, and he had a big smile on his. Definitely something you don't normally do with just a friend or co-worker. So I started recording. Then they kissed, which where I'm from, you definitely don't do that with a friend. I also noticed this woman is in her mid to late 20s while my dad is 41. I also noticed this woman is very much pregnant, probably around 8-ish months. After I got my drink, I decided to confront my dad and walk up to them. I just said, "Hey dad, what are you doing?" He looked shocked, but then said, "Oh, just getting coffee with a friend." I decided to be brave and said, "So you kiss all your friends like that?" I saw panic in his eyes and he quickly said, "Don't tell your mom." I then asked if the baby was his. He said a quick yes while not even looking at me. I just said, "Well, you've had at least around 9 months to tell mom about your affair, yet you haven't. I'm really disappointed in you." Then I left. My dad has a job in business, so we always thought he was busy at work, but I now see where he spent some of his time. I was going to text my mom right away, but she's at work right now, and she's a nurse, so I don't want to distract her from an important job. I'll tell her when I get home from school. I feel really bad for my mom. She told me this morning my dad had an early morning meeting. I could see sadness in her eyes. I asked what's wrong, and she admitted to wishing he was home more to be with us. So yeah, I can't believe my dad did this. My mom definitely deserves better though. Now for the top advice before the little update. This is likely to get very messy. The most important thing to remember is that you hold no blame in this situation, no matter what your dad may say. Of course you have to tell your mom. Tell her and then take a step back. You are a child, and neither parent should use you as a sounding board. Your mom will likely be heartbroken when she finds out. It's hard to prepare yourself for that. Give her lots of cuddles and reassure her you love her, but encourage her to talk to a friend or sibling about it all. Thank you. I have a feeling my dad is going to be mad at me for telling her, but clearly he's not, so I have to tell her. That's laughable that he would be mad at you for him being caught with his affair partner. The audacity of him begging you not to tell your mom. Iki. Well, good for you for confronting him like that. This is a bad situation for you and your mom, of course, but because you handled it right there in the moment, he won't be able to lie and prolong the pain. I was debating in my head if I should confront him or not, but I'm glad I ended up doing it. Info: how did his side chick act? I'm assuming she knows he's married and doesn't care. I'm sorry you are going through this and that your dad is a horrible lying cheat. I'm pretty sure she knows as he had his wedding ring on. She didn't really say anything, just kinda stared at me. Please tell your mom. I am planning on telling her. I just can't right now because it's not right for me to do it over text. When I was a teen, I was in a situation much like this with my family. It may not come as much of a shock to your mom as you think. Just be aware of that. Now for the mini update. So I told my mom. She was upset and cried for a while and wanted to be left alone. Then my dad came home with flowers to try and suck up. Long story short, they yelled and argued a lot, and now my mom and I are packed up going to my grandma's. Last story. My dad is trying to bribe me, so I won't tell my mom he is cheating. And it worked. For as long as I can remember, I've been a daddy's girl. But after growing up, I see that he isn't who I thought he was when I was 4. My parents honestly don't need to be together. My dad screams at my mom because she asks him to get a job. He had one, but where he's at isn't working right now. And mom is breaking her back trying to provide for both me and my sister. My dad doesn't like that we try and stick up for our mom, but when you have a dad who chases you around town, threatens his kids, and curses you out because you love your grandma more than him, you as the child can only take so much. It's grown folks' business. That's fine, I don't care. Now here we are today. I'll admit I may be in the wrong, but when it comes to my mom, I don't play about her. I was with my dad yesterday, grocery shopping, when we met one of his old hookups. He cheated on my mom with her some years ago. They hugged, and she tried to hug me, but I said no way in hell, and walked off. I got into a lot of trouble for it. So we're in the truck, and he calls her and tells her, "Look baby, she didn't mean it." I say they and he just rolls his eyes and says, "She is going to apologize." I just look at him and say, "You're married. Call my mom baby." He then looked as if he had just got caught. This man was stupid. He called her baby, in front of me. I told him he's an idiot. He hung up the phone and was literally crying, begging. I said no, and that I'd be telling mom as soon as we got to the house. He wouldn't start the car. He begged and begged me. So I used him to my advantage. He went into the Apple store and he left his phone. I've seen him put in the code, so I knew what it was. I found him texting and sexting multiple women. I took pictures on my phone and sent them to my sister. I guess he noticed he left it because he came running back to the car for it. I have a brand new phone, an iPad, and he gave me a $500 Shane card. I also got my sister an iPad and a new pair of Jordans. I still don't know where he got the money from since he doesn't have a job. But we got home, we ate dinner, and I snitched on him while eating my McDonald's, which he also bought. I told my sister to show our mom the proof, and she went ballistic. He's currently kicked out, and my mom is looking for a divorce lawyer. All of my dad's side of the family is currently blaming me, but I don't care. He's a cheater and my mom is a great woman who deserves the best. Screw you, Dad. Is it possible your mom's money paid for all that stuff? Your mother is better off without him. My first thought, make sure he didn't rob your mom to buy these things. I'm sure it's nice to have, but it won't be nice living on the sidewalk because he spent your mom's mortgage on Jordans. I've seen this comment plenty. We checked through the bank statements and no money was from my mom. He apparently was saving up for a new house for us, and that's where it came from. Saving up for an apartment to meet his side chick is more like it. Hey there, it's your boy Foxy, back for more relationship stories. My girlfriend gave my best friend a BJ. Original post. For Pete's sake. My girlfriend Connie, best friend Toby, and I are a trio of some sorts. We're really close, and my best friend Toby has been with me since middle school. We're all 20. I've been with my girlfriend for 3 years and never imagined her doing something like this. She was shy, she was uncomfortable with intimate experiences, and I was her first. Now she comes to me yesterday, bragging about how she gave Toby an oral. I was freaking appalled. She told me she wanted to date both me and Toby at the same time. That we both fulfilled her needs, and Toby was okay with it. I never screamed so freaking loud in my life, and I think my voice is hoarse. I blocked her and Toby everywhere. Then they started calling my mom trying to explain that my girlfriend and I were in an open relationship. I never saw this freaking coming. We three were very close, but I didn't expect her to bet him. How could I miss the signs? Now for the top comments before reading the update. If all parties are not aware of it, that's called cheating, dude. Dump her and ditch your so-called friend for stabbing you in the back. Yup, karma is a pain. I promise you, your best friend will come to you in a year or so, saying Connie cheated on him with some other guy. 'Cause once a Connie, always a Connie. They are both going to come to him in a year or so, because they are both horrible people who got a hell of a head start at screwing up relationships. You made the right decision here. Pop some popcorn and pour some wine. This crap show of raging immaturity and selfish dysfunction can only end with one or both of them cheating. True, but I'll advise OP to not invest time or energy in their demise. Move on, lick your wounds, and prepare yourself for your next relationship. The way the dating scene is right now, I'm starting to understand why multi-$1,000 pleasure dolls and robots are a thing. At this point, I just want love, loyalty, and a hug every now and then. Seriously, it's so hard to find a person you can let down your walls with, and then they still might decide that what you have to offer, and what you are and emulate as a human, isn't enough to keep them satisfied. I still date, but haven't had a serious long-term girlfriend since I was 24. As I get older, just turned 28, I really wonder if my person is out there looking for me as hard as I want to find her. I thought I'd found her a few times. Sometimes it ended for different reasons and not infidelity. But more often than not, my relationships ended by me being cheated on by people that I considered friends, and it's led to some intense feelings of self-doubt within, and me sabotaging my own happiness at times, because I don't want it to be ruined by anyone else again. I don't know if that makes sense. But I will say, at least OP in this situation had an honest girlfriend, who immediately told him about what she had done, instead of hiding it from him and letting him find out about an affair any other way. If it's going to happen, it's always best to hear it from your partner rather than a friend or by figuring it out. OP, I really hope you are able to grow and become a stronger person as you go through the next few months and years. Please, if you ever need another person to talk to, DM me and I'll be your homie. I'm no therapist, but I can relate to some pretty real stuff and I don't judge. Your comment makes sense. Unfortunately, I don't think anyone knows how to fix it. The connections you seek have been devalued and replaced for convenient attention from any source available. Why are they calling your mother? That's weird and creepy. Hello ma'am, please tell your son that he is in an open relationship now. See him tomorrow. And now for the update. This post is getting traction, so might as well keep you all updated. My now ex-girlfriend has sent me a long text from an unidentified number. She told me that she thought I was okay with her banging Toby because I was fine with Toby driving her home, and apparently no guy would let his girl do that or some stupid nonsense. She's had a crush on Toby for a year now, but now says I'm the one she wants to be with. LMAO, get lost with that crap. Anyway, I blocked that same number. Letting him drive her home equals letting him bang her. What the heck is wrong with this girl? Major bullet dodged OP. I've apparently been giving off all the wrong signals to my city's bus drivers. Next story. Wife cheated, so I got a girlfriend. Essentially what the title says. Found out she bedded an old coworker 3.5 months ago. She doesn't know I know. I found out by snooping on her phone one night when she fell asleep before me, and the messages were all there. From what I could tell, it looks like they only did it once, maybe a few times, but I don't know. Last week I snooped again and found out they have plans to do it again this Friday when she's going out of town on a work trip. Originally, I was completely disgusted and absolutely heartbroken. I couldn't sleep because of the images in my head. I started drinking more and smoking a lot of weed to take my mind off of it, which has kinda helped, but not enough. Life was hard initially, but things have been better since Hannah and I hit it off. Who's Hannah? Well, she's my new girlfriend. After I found out, I started working more. I wanted to build up a mountain of overtime money so I could plan my next move, whatever it was. Anyway, she recently started working in the same area as me about 8 months ago. With me working more, I was able to spend more time around her. She's gorgeous to say the least, objectively better looking than my wife. We started talking daily, and I told her about the situation with my wife. She was really supportive and caring for me. One night when wife was on a work trip, after our shift, I asked her to grab a drink with me, which she said yes. After a few hours, we ended up at her place, and we did it all night long. The next morning, I held her in bed and talked for a few hours. I really started to like this girl and wondered where this could go. That day I ended up going home and picked up my wife at the airport. She didn't suspect a thing and carried on like usual. Hannah and I talked the next day about what happened. I told her I really enjoyed our time, which she excitedly responded that she felt the same. We agreed to keep it under the radar and also only talk when we are at work to avoid my wife finding out. So far it's worked, and she hasn't suspected a thing. It's been 3 weeks since that talk, and every day after work we do it in my car in a parking lot. I want to keep this going as long as I can. I freaking hate my wife for what she did, and I just want to inflict as much pain as possible. It should be easy to, as my wife is too infatuated with her new boy toy to take notice of anything. I know eventually, however, I need to come clean and divorce my wife. I'm just hurt. But anyway, screw that witch. Edit. I have screenshots of the text since I found out. Should have included that. I just need to find a lawyer and start the process. Be with Hannah because you enjoy your time with her, not because you want to hurt your wife. Divorce your wife and be with Hannah openly. If you like her, stop hiding and treating her like a mistress. She deserves better than a quick shag in the car, man. This. 100% with you on that. Make her feel special and not something to hurt your wife. Everyone here is a massive C word. Break up and move on. Trying to cause her pain isn't a good thing for you. It might be fun to OP now, but who knows, this might be the cause of a big headache down the road. If I were OP, I'll keep receipts of her affair and file for a divorce and be done with it. Hannah eventually cheats, she's with a married guy now. What's to stop her again? Break up and move on. Your new fling is based off revenge cheating on your wife. By the way, your new situation is not a relationship. She's a mistress in hiding, and she's terrible enough to go along with it, which means her morals are just as bad as yours and your wife. Plus, doing her in your car in the parking lot. Yep, real romantic relationship you got going. You couldn't pay for a hotel or go to her house. Says a lot about Hannah. I don't think your wife's doing it in parking lots, no matter how much prettier Hannah is. If you want to be serious, stop treating Hannah like a mistress and leave your wife, instead of lying and hiding it as long as you can. All you did was find a backup plan and a soft place to land when you leave. Instead of manning up and leaving her, you stoop to her level. I'm curious to see how things with Hannah will be once he divorced his wife and comes down from his high. Forbidden fruit isn't as sweet once you've been given permission to eat it. Next story. I've left my wife and I don't think I could be angrier. We were married for 6 years. I tried to give her everything she asked for. Everything that she might need. Many times, she said that how I was treating our marriage wasn't good enough. She'd set a goal and I'd meet it. Biweekly dates, small surprise gifts, dedicated uninterrupted time together every day, my own friend group separate from hers, not going to my family so much for holidays, and so many more things. I met the goalposts and then they get moved again. There was never satisfaction, but I dealt with it. Red flag, but I ignored it. I told myself I was growing into a better person. I went and got a diagnosis for my ADHD, anxiety, and depression. I started therapy and started looking for support groups. Then 5 years into our marriage, she mentions opening up our marriage, attempting poly. After a lot of back and forth, I said yes, despite discomfort with the idea. After all, I could benefit as well. She had a successful, physically active relationship, while I struck out half a dozen times with nothing more than a handful of kisses. I had 2 or 3 panic attacks throughout our foray into polyamory. Her partner suddenly got serious and didn't think she was serious enough. He didn't think poly was for him. I get the feeling he wanted exclusivity, but she never gave that much detail, so he broke up with her. I got off work early to nurse her and be there for her through that. Halfway through the car ride home, having not said anything, she explodes into tears. She says over and over and over, "I hate you and I want a divorce." My heart stopped inside my chest. I never saw this coming. I thought, okay, maybe she just needs space. I'll get an apartment nearby and she can sort herself out. But through enough conversation, the truth came out. She was uneasy marrying me and couldn't bring herself to tell me. She felt pressured by her parents and societal expectations. She said she spent 6 years trying to get me to where she wanted me to be, and she was done. She said she doesn't love me the way that I love her, and she doesn't think she ever did. She said that she fell in love with the idea of a husband and a life partner, not me. I asked her what her idea of a good husband was. She said she doesn't know, but it isn't this. She says she's done doing what everyone else tells her and is now taking this time to be selfish. I ask if we can do counseling. Is my current progress not proof that I'm growing? Is the fact that I ran a half marathon the day after you asked for a divorce a sign of how far I've come? Can I just give you space, maybe a trial separation? Do we have to fully end everything? No. She wants out, and she's pulling herself out. That I shouldn't try to save this marriage, because I should have been trying from day one. That the man I'm growing into is lashing out, and my growth is an act of desperation. So, after the realization that she's spent the last 6 years of my life, of my effort, trying to fix me, I moved out. After realizing that I truly have never been good enough for her, I left. I'm laying awake at night in my mom's spare room, while she has our 1,200 square feet loft apartment to herself. I reached out and said, "I know you're alone, but I'm here if you need to talk about anything." She said, "Thanks, but I'm okay." My life has been upended. And she's totally fine. I loved her for who she was, or at least who she showed herself to be. And all I ever was to her was a disappointment. I'm so angry. I'm so broken. Lies. For 6 years. She couldn't bring herself to tell me the damn truth because it made her uncomfortable. I'm so angry that I can't sleep. Congrats, Olivia. You're getting what you want. A divorce in your life all to yourself. And to hell with your expectations. I wanted to be this kind of man before you came along, and I'll be more than this kind of man after you're gone. Good luck finding your ideal husband, even though you can't even think of what the ideal one is. For all our time and effort together, I truly do wish you luck. I'm bitter and angry, but I still love you in a distant sort of way. I hope you find happiness and peace. I also hope you learn to tell the truth. Godspeed and get lost. Now for the comments. OP, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Your wife should have never accepted your proposal, much less actually married you. I don't understand why so many people marry because others want them to. I'm not talking about cultures where this is the norm. You should not have to pay for her uncertainty about what she wanted or her lack of a backbone in regards to her parents. The reason she's totally fine is because she's now free of something she never wanted. You have tried so hard to be a good husband, and all she could ever see you as was a burden. You didn't deserve that, and you don't deserve the pain you're feeling now. I know everything sucks now, but in the long run, you're going to be better off. You can find a partner who appreciates you, who isn't busy trying to fix you, and can be a devoted, loving partner. I wish you much happiness in the future. Hang in there. It will get better. Everything sucked before. Did you read the same post I did? Dude just got a freaking new shot at happiness, away from that controlling thing he let walk all over him. Out with her boyfriend while he was home. Sad. Might sound harsh, but OP got lucky. He was absolutely miserable. He needs to shift his perspective. And to hell with your expectations. I am totally stealing that. It's a good line. Keep it. Happy Thanksgiving. She sounds like she's having a midlife crisis and is lashing out. She's a selfish woman. I know you are hurting, but you deserve to have a partner who treats you right. She has some fantasy of what life should be like, and guess what? That crap is never gonna happen. She needs some therapy. You shouldn't have to change who you are for someone ever. It sounds like you are extremely codependent, and I feel you need therapy of your own so you can figure out who you are as a person. Yourself. Because you are your own person, and your feelings and thoughts matter. You sound like a really great guy, and I'm really sorry this happened to you. When you're ready, try looking at this as a learning experience. One day you'll look back and not even remember the guy you used to be and be oh so happy. As a woman who was with a man like this, she did you a favor. Really. I know it doesn't feel that way now, but it will. You more or less hit the nail on the head. Both of us grew up in households that gave us a skewed view of relationships. Codependency everywhere. That's what the therapy was for. I'm still gonna fix that problem. More so for me than her though. Last story. Reconciled, and I have a weird gut feeling again. Almost 2 years ago, my girlfriend 26 female and I 26 male took a short break. And after a month or so of problem solving and honest communication, we got back together. A few days before we officially got back together, we were talking every day and confessing our deep feelings for one another. She slept with someone. She lied about this for about a year. Despite my constant questioning about the situation, I noticed on a snap map she was staying somewhere overnight I'd never seen. She eventually broke down and told me. This lets me know she's capable of lying and wouldn't have opened up if I didn't consistently pry. Fast forward to now. We recently had a party a week ago. Some of her work friends came over, and there was one individual who she discusses quite a bit. I got to talking to him, trying to figure out their relationship and if she talks about me, when he said, all great things, except she tells me when you're being difficult. To this as I responded, well, at least she has someone to confide in. I gave him a shoulder pat and laughed as to not take the air out of the room, but his reaction was a nervous laugh. Why is she discussing her relationship issues or when I'm being difficult with a male coworker? Doesn't that seem odd? I immediately discussed this the next day with my girlfriend. I told her she was acting weird. She was showing all the nervous tics, like fidgeting and playing with her hair. She said she felt like she was getting accused for doing nothing, and she promises that nothing is going on. I also made a point of saying that I'm not accusing, and this feeling could be stemming from some insecurity I have. Anyway, I told her I believed her, which is only half true. I still have this feeling like something is going on, and I don't know if I'm just being paranoid or how to settle this in my mind. Any advice on how to put this thought to bed, or if I should pry further? You know she's totally capable of lying to your face. All you can do is trust your gut on this. I really want to pry further. You're going to pry into some dude banging her. Your girl took a break to bed other dudes, that's the blunt reality. Strong relationships don't really take breaks like that. How do I know that she actually banged some other dude? It's a gut feeling. She banged another man whilst you were having deep and meaningful talks about reconciliation. She did this literally days before you reconciled. That's the period when her commitment should be the strongest. Then she lied about it for a year. What do you mean, how do I know?